Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's bright and early. Daily discipline. Mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. If anybody out there wants coaching or mentoring, just go to my website, skyazrael.com. I always put the link below. Set your mood right. I got some incense going. I got some music going. Some calming Indian flute music. Let me turn it down so it doesn't distract you guys. I got some honey chamomile tea. So let's get into it. This is how we get down every single Sunday. I go through my notes. I study every single day. It's part of the program that I live, that I coach, that I mentor. So let's just go over some of the stuff that I've studied this week. This is for my hardcore heads. Most of you don't really need extra material for a Sunday. You just want to sleep in. You're probably going to watch some football later. I know I will. My Redskins are actually doing a little bit better, and we got our fingers and toes crossed that maybe they'll make it to the playoffs. We'll see what happens today. But let's just jump into this. Here's the first one. Don't get hooked on your 15 minutes of fame. Let it go quickly. Not everybody gets 15 minutes of fame. But if you do, don't get stuck there. That's not a place you want to get stuck. That could be quicksand. We live in a fast-paced world, and people's attention span moves quickly, and what was hot yesterday is no longer hot today, and we all know how that works. Don't get hooked on attention, validation, acceptance, other people's likes. Let's go to the next one. Let's talk about how to be successful as an entrepreneur. I could do a whole video on this, and I probably have in the past. We have, over 1,400 videos on this channel. But in order to be successful in the motorcycle industry, I had to become unidimensional, one-dimensional. And I made custom motorcycles, and being a custom motorcycle shop owner and being a biker, my life. And some people, they don't really get into their role as business owner as much as I did. I tattooed my company name on me. Not many people are doing that, not even in the motorcycle industry. I wasn't just a biker from 9 to 5, a custom motorcycle builder from 9 to 5, and then I have all these other hats that I wear. Father and husband and, community, charity bringer, none of that. I was one thing, unidimensional, 24/7, all the time, motorcycle shop owner. And that's the only filter that I saw, that's the only world I lived in. I wanted nothing else. And that's how I became successful. Some people spread themselves too thin. You may need to go all in, jump in. You're standing there looking at the water, you need to jump in. Find something and let it consume you. Let's move on. I was listening to a talk earlier in the week about counterculture, and I've been part of counterculture for literally my whole life. My parents were hippies. I was born in a school bus. And I've been liberal all the way up until a couple years ago. I was the king of the liberals. I was more liberal than anybody you guys have ever met in your life. I wasn't just some Bernie bro. Bernie Sanders was a fucking sellout right-wing conservative compared to me and my left-wing friends. We look at Antifa as being a bunch of sellout conservatives. We were that far left. I was raised by anarchic communist hippies. and lived on communes. I was fully brainwashed. And growing up, that left-wing liberalism was absolutely the counterculture, because the culture in America was rather conservative. And it was pushed by corporations, pushed by the government, pushed by your church-going neighbors. And we were trying to be anti-everything, to be different. Well, counterculture today in 2024, it's going to be 2025 pretty soon, is no longer left. Liberalism is no longer the counterculture in America. You want to be counterculture? You want to be a rebel? You want to be that James Dean, the Fonz? I worshipped guys like that when I was a kid. Literally, those were my heroes. Counterculture now is a traditional conservative alpha male. Counterculture now is no longer left-wing liberalism and progressivism. Counterculture now is conservatism. I love it. Let's move to the next one. Here's some things that you can follow as a man. Stoicism, traditionalism, family values, belief in God, physical fitness as a lifestyle, wealth as a lifestyle, protection as a lifestyle, the rule of law, and being my brother's keeper. I heard an interesting conversation by a table of old men. I go to a pizza parlor that I've gone to for probably 20 years, ever since I moved into this town, owned by this Sicilian guy, Luigi, and I like Luigi. Luigi is a curmudgeon. I've never seen him smile once, ever. I've known him for 20 years. I've never once seen him happy. He's just a mean son of a bitch. But he makes good pizza, and we're friends, and I love his little restaurant. He's got pictures of Venice, not Venice Beach, but Venice, Italy, all over, and I sit in my table. I have a table, my table, and I look at this wonderful, like almost the size of the whole wall picture of Venice, and I eat my slices, and behind me, there was a table of old men, my parents' age. And they sat down, and they were all Italian, I could tell, and the one guy who seemed kind of the alpha of the group, there's usually a leader in groups of friends, he says to another guy who was a little older, I could tell, and I wasn't looking at them, I could just hear all this as I was munching down and looking at my favorite painting. I love that painting. And he says, the one guy says, okay, we're gonna have a conversation, me and you. He says it very sternly, and the other guy responds, the older man responds kind of in a joke, like, oh, am I in trouble? And he says, you were ridiculing Tom, just one of their friends, a few days ago for him being a shut-in. And now you are isolating yourself, you are self-isolating, and you're being a shut-in, and that makes you a hypocrite. And we don't want you to be a shut-in anymore. We don't want you to criticize Tom or whatever. So he kind of bopped him on the head for his behavior. And he didn't stop there. And he said, so this is what's going to happen. Because the guy didn't really know what to say. He was just like, well, look, I'm kind of broke. And, you know, I guess I didn't feel like going out and spending other people's money or just sitting there. And he was like, this is what's going to happen. We've all, they have a group of men friends, is what I gathered. He said, we're going to buy you a gift certificate once a week. And that's going to, we'll all pitch in on it. It doesn't cost nothing really. We'll each pitch in $1 or $2 each. You'll get your gift certificate. And we'll all go out to Outback or Olive Garden or wherever they go once a week. And you're not going to miss this anymore. You're coming, and we have a free meal. He's like, put it on your calendar. I'll put it on your calendar for you. Now, all I'm talking about here is being your brother's keeper. This is how it's done. You take care of your friends. You keep them in line. I was very impressed with how they interacted with each other, and they moved forward in their conversation and had a great old lunch. Be your brother's keeper. Let's move on. Talk about an uncomfortable topic for many of you. Let's talk about pornography. Stay away from porn. It's harmful to your mentality, to your mind. It hurts you. Especially if you're single. I mean, I'm not going to say that if you're in a relationship or if you're married that porn is healthier. If you're in a relationship, you have no reason looking at porn. What are you, fucking nuts? Go bang your girl. But here's the deal. Porn keeps you immature and it sabotages your chances for a real relationship. In fact, now listen up. In fact, each porn video that you watch is an investment in your loneliness. Marinate on that. Here's a quote that I heard that I had to think about a little bit, so I wrote it down. If you rule over hell, you're the least successful devil in hell, not the most. You're the most hopeless. You're the most evil, the most rotten, the biggest liar. So you're the least successful. The most successful person in hell would be worshiping God. Everybody else is engaging in violence and orgies and sin and debauchery and whatever. Now you're over there praying in hell. Living a good life in hell. How hard would that be? Let's move to the next one. A lot of you want miracles, but you don't want God. You beg and pray for favors, especially when shit hits the fan, especially when you have that diagnosis at the doctor or someone dies or whatever it is that really fucks you up. No, you start praying, but you don't really want to do that other times. You don't want to have a daily Bible study, daily. Could you imagine that? You go to church once a week, you sit there and you don't even pay attention. Imagine if you actually picked up a Bible every single day and read it with intention to develop a connection with God. Your whole life would change. Here's a theory that I've been looking into. You're lost if you serve your own whims. If you serve your own whims, you end up alienated with a life devoid of meaning. You end up anxious and isolated, self-conscious and miserable. So what do? You work as hard as you can for what's best in other people. Other people. You work for other people, service to others. So the best thing that you could do for yourself is to be in service to others. You want to be miserable? Some of you want to be miserable. Here's how you do it. The misery of man. There's like 4 or 5 steps, 5 steps I guess. Know God. You want to be miserable. This is the misery of man. Stay as far away from God as possible. Create no family. Become enemies with your family. Middle fingers to your family. Fuck my family. Misery of man. No legacy. Have no career. Have no children. When you die, you're just a blip. You're just like a candle being blown out. You'll be forgotten quickly. No legacy. Misery of man. You have no purpose and meaning in your life if you have no legacy. If you're low status or if you have no status, you've checked out of the social hierarchy. You will be miserable. And if you have no health or bad health, you have no fitness, you're not working out, you will be miserable. And if you're not miserable now, you think you're some fat hedonistic king. Oh, you're going to be miserable when you get to be my age. You'll be in the doctor's office all the time. God, I got several more pages of pretty good stuff. We could always do a follow-up video if you guys want and do a second study group, but let's just end it off philosophizing about this. What does it mean to be an American? Do we have our own culture in America? What is American culture? McDonald's? Multiculturalism is different than diversity. Diversity could be different skin colors, different people from around the world that come here. But when they do come here, they assimilate into American culture and we all become Americans. And what would that look like? Well, go watch any movie before 1965. and you go to the Mexican community, the Asian community, the black community, the white community, whatever it is, and there is an American culture that anybody with different skin color or whatever, different nationalities, embraces, because that's what it means to be an American. Do we really have that anymore? Or has multiculturalism ruined any possibility of having an American culture? Italians have a culture. I love Italy. I got a whole half of my family that's Italian, and there's an Italian culture. Are we allowed at this point in the game to have a culture of our own, where when immigrants come here, they become American, whatever that means? Or do they have their own little world in their kingdom? When you drive through, like in LA, there's all these different little areas. You drive through little Ethiopia, are you now in a different country where the street signs are in a different language? Nobody speaks English. You go to Orlando. I was at a parking garage in Orlando not too long ago, and I asked the attendant a question. He didn't speak a word of English, not a single word. Why doesn't he learn English? If I were to move to his country, I damn well would have to learn their language, and if I didn't, I'd be ostracized and looked at as a damn fool. Here, you can get a job and be protected, and if I criticize you, what, I'm considered a goddamn racist for even talking about this, right? All you liberals watching have already checked out because you're fucking little babies. You can't even handle a conversation like this. Has multiculturalism been a colossal failure? Oh, we love Chinese restaurants and Mexican restaurants, but go look at what's happening in our urban cities. Dearborn, Michigan, or whatever it is, where they have the Muslim population, now has a branch of Hamas. They have video of them walking through the streets wearing their outfits. We have illegal immigrants burning people alive on the subway system. We have people from third world nations that are coming here that don't understand and don't like Western civilization and want to tear it down. They hate our flag. They burn it in the streets. Should those people be here? It's all food for thought. Have a great day.